to listen to the Lapped Traffic Podcast.
What is up, Lap Traffic Nation? Welcome to episode 243 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. I'm your host, the Professor Brandon Crowd. Hope you all had a fantastic weekend, a great Memorial Day weekend, all that good stuff. Well, we got another repeat winner, so the right side of the column is going up, while the left side holds still at 11 different winners through 15 races. But man, what an incredible weekend of racing from the Indy 500 through all three series of NASCAR. Cannot wait to talk about all of that with you guys tonight. But before I do, just a reminder, this week's show is brought to you by Angry Brew. Roast the competition. Be the first to the finish line with 5 Lakes Angry Brew. Angry Brew is a massively caffeinated, amazing tasting, high-octane power pack fuel that will get you through the day, get you through every day. When you need a power-up, reach for Angry Brew coffee. Coffee with a punch. I needed that today if I was a coffee drinker, but my wife had a glup, that's for sure. But today was the first day of the new job and all that good stuff, and so a lot of just sitting through training, so I definitely could have used coffee with a punch. So guess what, Lap Traffic Nation? You can get Angry Brew now with a Lap Traffic discount code that will get you 10% off. Just use code LAPPED, LAPPED, at checkout, and now you get 10% off, compliments of Lap Traffic. Make sure you tag me when you get that package in the mail and all that good stuff, and get that out there on social media. So go to angrybrew.com, 5lakescoffee.com, use code LAPPED, LAPPED, and I'm going to have another Angry Brew giveaway with some Spencer Boyd swag and all that kind of stuff coming up here later this week. And we'll give it away next week on the show. And speaking of giveaways, I've got another one that just got confirmed. Guess what? Pocono Raceway has given me a pair of tickets for Saturday at Pocono Raceway. So be on the lookout for the contest. How to enter for that. I'm trying to think of something creative that gets Pocono and Lap Traffic some attention and all that good stuff. So yes, I am giving away a pair of tickets. Now, you got to get to the racetrack yourself, either via plane, train, or automobile, or however you want to get there. So this is just for entry into the track on Saturday. But yes, you can be there. Compliments of Pocono and the Lap Traffic Podcast, which is so cool. Let's see, man, the weekend wrapped up, a week off and all that. Friday absolutely sucked up here. It was 50 and rainy, but that finally blew out for a wonderful 3-day weekend, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. You guys may have saw the picture. I prepped a lot of meat for the smoker for Sunday. On Saturday, couple chickens, 5 slabs of ribs, burgers, potatoes, corn, all that good stuff. Sunday, had some friends over for a little barbecue and to watch the 600, which was fantastic. Had the TV outside on the deck. Couldn't have asked for a better weekend there and all that good stuff. And of course, yesterday, Memorial Day. Wrapped it up with a dinner, Lindsay and I, and man, thank you so much to our fallen veterans and heroes out there that gave us a reason to be able to have a day off and to celebrate and to remember our fallen heroes for sure. All right. Well, first off, I got to apologize for the Lap Traffic fantasy players. I was all over the place when to send out my emails because I was out of my normal routine last week. So you guys got emails at odd times last week. Apologize about that. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed last week's show with CJ Wolliver. Always great to catch up with him. We'll get another J-Ski bonus show lined up over the next week or so. And yes, it's on the note sheet. So a listener call-in show will happen at some point in time. I promise you that. But right now, tonight, so excited because from MRN, Woody Cain is going to be on the Lap Traffic Podcast, which is going to be awesome. Not sure who's calling in there, but Woody Cain's going to be on in just a minute. We'll have your recap, and we'll be talking Charlotte and previewing Sonoma and all that good stuff. Finally hit 5,500 followers, so I got a big giveaway to do with that at the social media segment. Neudorff's going to have your weather, Lucky Dog Lap Down, and, of course, fantasy to close it out. So without further ado, let's get this thing going, and let's get Woody Cain back on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his third appearance on the Lap Traffic Podcast. He's the news director at MRN. He's the host of NASCAR Today and a meat smoking connoisseur. Welcome back to the show. It's Woody Cain. Woody, what's up, man? How are you?
Well, not the temperature and not the humidity, so I count those as pluses. Neither of those are up, so we're in positive territory, right?
Excellent. Playing on house money with that. I love it. Well, man, listen, last time you were on was back around the new year when Sherwin from the PETM podcast was in town. It's been about 5 months. What's new?
Well, we are getting slowly but surely back to normal, even though I'm still working from home and enjoying that. Started to do a few more races now. Normally I host a pre-race show for MRN, and I actually at Charlotte worked a couple of the races from a turn. So that was nice to feel like we were moving toward the direction of normalcy again. And it looks like NASCAR said today that they're going to ease the COVID protocols and the everything that we have to follow a little bit further, starting with the All-Star race at Texas in a couple of weeks. So that's even more good news.
Oh man, it's so awesome just to see that the light is starting to get bigger at the exit of that tunnel. That's for sure, man. That's exciting. It's got to be exciting for you guys. Striegel was on a couple weeks ago and was talking about just how incredible it was just to really start to see 10,000, 20,000 fans back at the track, to start interacting. Like, you guys with MRN, you guys do such a great job with getting out at the track. Even before the podcast, I would see you guys out and about, which is just so cool. So I know you guys really have got to be enjoying that.
Yeah, and it is nice to be able to see that. And, I'm glad in many respects that it has been more like a dimmer switch than just an on-off switch, because that gives people a little more time to feel comfortable with things and feel like we're, when you want to go open up a spigot, you kind of turn it a little slowly first and let the water come out before it's full blast, right? And I think that works better.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to ask this. So you guys were at the track. You guys did truck. You did ARCA. But your counterparts over at PRN had the main call. What's it like when you're not the main race for the weekend and all that, when both stations are there at the track?
Well, sometimes we will share a booth or even share equipment, but typically this would have been the weekend where we would be there for the All-Star race and trucks and then just pack up all our stuff and go. And then PRN would have the whole following weekend, for Xfinity and Cup. But this time they had their booth set up and we had ours set up in one of the suites actually this year, since we were both kind of there at the same time. And that makes for a little bit of a logistical challenge, but we've faced things way more difficult than that. The pandemic we just talked about, for example, but that's a detail as far as I'm concerned in the grand scheme of things. And it was no big deal. It was kind of nice to have a big wide open suite to where we could have a place to park all of our stuff before we, got busy with the race that night. So it was kind of cool.
Excellent. Talk a little bit, you do the pre-race and all that kind of stuff and give everyone a little bit of an insight. I don't know if we talked about this last couple times you've been on in terms of, what your pre-race activities are for the show before things pick up with Striegel and Hayden and all that and that crew. What are you guys talking about on your pre-race? What can fans get if they tune in early?
Well, typically we'll have a one-on-one feature interview with an interesting subject, a guy who's done well at the track we're racing at, a guy who's been in the news that week, a driver who's, racing in his hometown or is doing better than expected, something like that, something along those lines, to give you a little deeper insight into what's going on in that driver's head rather than just a grid interview, which is the traditional, hey, how's the car going to be today? What are you looking for? That type of thing. You find out a little more about the person. So we'll have a little bit of that. We're trying to slowly get some live elements back into the beginning of the broadcast, and that usually means we have to wake Striegel and Alex up and say, hey, guys, come on, you got to work now. You got to do a little something here and get them involved a little early for a bird's eye view of what, whether it's a weather situation or whether it's, fans coming back and they can describe that, or the throwback cars, all those at Darlington was really cool when they were talking about that. And then we move on to some things that are more feature oriented, whether it's, guys who are exceptionally good on road courses, or guys who have a really good history of a particular track, or why aren't Kevin Harvick and Denny Hamlin winning races like they were at the race they were a year ago? Things like that, a feature type thing, and then start working down closer and closer to grid rounds and talking to drivers and crew chiefs and get ready to hit that number, hit that anthem number. You got to hit that when you got the countdown in your ear, 3, 2, 1, and you better stop talking because the anthem is coming. Most of the time, if we get the correct countdown. There's always little logistical glitches, but yeah, that's what it's about. Make sure you hit the number and give people a little more than they can get from just a grid interview.
No, that's great. That's fantastic. And I think that's, for me, that's a lot more substance than a grid interview. We know we're going to get them. We know we have to get them, and there's nothing wrong with them. But yeah, anytime you can get a little bit more substance is much appreciated as far as I'm concerned. Now, you mentioned, getting back to a little bit more live aspect of things. Are your one-on-one interviews for these, have they been pre-recorded and dropped in, or are you doing those live over the last couple weeks?
Yeah, typically it's tough on race morning to get 6 or 8 minutes with a driver because
Sure.
they're bouncing around and doing a lot of shorter type interviews. So we'll do that sometime during the week, and that way we can lay in some highlights with it, like if the guy has just won or if he's won at the particular track we're at, put some race calls in it and that type of thing, and spice it up a little bit and put a little music bed with it in some instances if we need that and that type of thing, just to pep it up a little bit. TV will have extra video elements when they do a long interview, but we have to rely strictly on sound. So I think that adds a little punch to it and gives you an idea of what that guy's done.
Oh, without a doubt. Absolutely. I love it. When do you guys typically normally pick up? Is it 30 minutes before pre-race ceremonies, an hour? When can people tune in to catch that?
Typically it's an hour. Depending on the track, it might be 45 minutes. It might be an hour and 15 minutes, but typically an hour is a good rule of thumb that you'll see for that. An hour before the anthem starts. Now, green will, be 15 minutes beyond that. So you're looking at roughly an hour-ish pre-race show.
Excellent. Fantastic. Well, Lap Traffic Nation, make sure you tune into that with Woody Cain for sure.
Yeah.
Woody, man, when did you get back into the hometown side of things for this weekend? Because I know Memorial Day weekend, you had to have something on the smoker.
Actually, we did. I've been wanting to do this for a while. There's a place in town that has water buffalo meat, ground water buffalo meat. And I'm telling you, it sounds weird, but it is really, really good. And we've been wanting to make smash burgers with them for a while. Finally got some, put my my cast iron skillet on the grill and just got it ripping hot, to where you can't even stand near it, much less touch it. So you got to have a big mitt to move the handle with. Get those smash burgers made really thin. Get a really strong spatula. Put the meat in there with your choice of seasonings on it and smash that thing down so you get a good crust on there. And that's what we went with on Monday. Also got I think there's a part of a chicken left over in the fridge right now. We got some wings. We got some fish. Got plenty of stuff. I didn't do one big, long smoking. I just did a bunch of smaller things.
Excellent, man. I love that. So I while you guys were busy at the track on Sunday, I spaced out wings. I did 2 whole chickens and 5 slabs of ribs for the barbecue that we had. And the wife and I, we did a little weekend getaway last weekend and went up to one of the tourist place here in Michigan and found a new place called Pepper Palace that had it was nothing but a rub and barbecue store. And when I walked in, the wife was like, "I'll be back." She just knew to let me be. And it was like, "How many things do you have to buy to get 3 free?" "Oh, I got to buy 10 things, get 3 free." "Oh, but then it's an extra 10% off at 15." Oh, it was one of those ordeals. And
see, that's my problem. I got so much stuff in the pantry. My wife goes, "Really? Are you going to buy something else? Why don't we use up some of the other stuff first?"
But what if you miss out on the world's best rub, and you just got to get it.
Exactly.
Yes, and they had some unique ones in there. They had some. They had some fruit flavored rubs. They had some honey flavored rubs, a mocha rub, your southern rubs and all that kind of stuff. And
I've gotten into a lot more of the sweeter ones now. I've
love sweet rubs
to where I'm getting away from so much of the salt, because that's in almost everything. It seems like the first ingredient is salt. But if I can get one where the salt is the third or fourth ingredient down, I'm all about that. And I like the profile. I like is a little bit of sweet and a little bit of heat, just a little zip to it, not like nuclear and catch your hair on fire, because I don't have much of that left. But I'm talking just a little sweet heat flavor profile. That's what I really like the best, man. That just does it for me. And been getting into the whole the Pit Boss thing lately. They've come out with a bunch of new rubs, and I've been trying those off and on. They've got a new one, maple chipotle, that kind of covers that sweet heat profile that I like. So I've been diving into those a little bit, and I'm not above mixing two. If I like two of them, I'll mix them together and see if I like them even better that way.
It's funny you mentioned that maple chipotle. This place I went at had one of those. I bought one of those. I tell you, two of my favorite sweet rubs are the bone sucking sauce is got a real nice sweet one to it, and Meat Church's the honey bacon flavor is just a real good one. And then a buddy of mine, I'm trying to think, Delisharoo, I think is the brand name, and they've got like 6 bacon flavors. They've got like bacon original, bacon cheese, maple bacon, smoky bacon, and chipotle bacon, and it's more of a powder than like the grainy type rub. And I really, really enjoy using those just as like a little add-on, just to give that bacon flavor, because you can't go wrong with bacon, right? So
right. I mean, you can put bacon in cereal and it'll be good. I like that on the ones that have the bacon flavoring in burgers in particular.
Yes. 100%. Yes, sir. Any new competitions things going on, or what's going on that side of things?
The competitions are just starting to crank back up again, and with my race schedule picking up, I haven't really tried to get involved in any of them yet. I've been sticking close to the house for the cooking, and that's quite a chore to load up all your equipment enough to support 3 or 4 guys for a weekend, and then load it back up again when you're beat down and you've been cooking all night. So those will be fewer and further between as we go forward, but I think we'll get back to 1 or 2 here shortly. I'm hoping anyway. The one that we have in Kannapolis is called Jiggy with the Piggy. And I volunteered at that one last year instead of competing. A good friend of mine has been volunteering with it, one of the guys I cook with since the beginning. And so they postponed the one again this year, but hopefully it'll be back next year.
Fantastic. That's great. So I got to ask, I know I had tweeted at you last weekend at COTA. Were you able to secure that Pit Boss bumper? Because that just had your name written all over it.
No, I wanted to get it. I've asked about it, and I think somebody, some executive probably has that hanging on their wall somewhere at the moment right now. I kind of got the blank stares, when you ask about it after that. I am going to get me a hat, though. I got to have a hat, right?
Absolutely.
Come on, it's the inaugural event.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, no, that was so cool to see them come into the sport. I'm not going to lie. We talked beforehand, like this is the hobby, not the paying job. But I've tried to reach out to a couple, whether it be, spice places, the barbecues themselves, whatever. Like, I think, podcasts be a great read and opportunity for them to be able to, get some exposure, because I do a 5-minute live thing on whatever I did and had on the smoker that past weekend. Like, I'd give them one hell of a free live read. Like, come on.
Jump in. Get on board.
Get on board. Oh, man. Well, listen, before we get into all 3 NASCAR races and all that good stuff, real quick, did you get to take in any of the Indy 500 on Sunday?
Yeah, a little bit. I caught a little bit of it off and on, and how cool to see Elio do that and get the victory again. And did you see the thing after where he went back and visited the fans who had their house decorated up in his honor, and he said, if I win again, I'm coming back, and he did? That's really cool.
That is I missed that. I got such a kick out of watching him jog up and down Victor, the at the start of the grid there, start finish, and just smile from ear to ear. I'm like, is he going to take a whole 2-mile lap, 2.5 mile lap around here? But
I know. I was thinking the same. He might walk the whole track by the time we're done here.
Man, what a great race. It was. just such an exciting race. I really enjoyed it. It was great to see Juan Pablo up there. I think he cracked the top 5 for a little bit, but he got a nice top 10. The names that, if you're not a typical, tuner inner to Indy and all that, because I'm not, but I've seen Juan Pablo, I've heard and watched Simon Pagenaud, some of these guys that you just, when you tune in each year for this event, that are just going to do good, and it was just such an exciting race. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's always cool to see the unexpected happen, right? I mean, that's kind of what everybody looks for in every event. If it's always going to be the same way and you know how the movie's going to end, it's much less entertaining.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. 100%. All right. So let's start with the truck series here. We had John Hunter Nemechek doing John Hunter Nemechek things, going out there and putting on a clinic with the truck series. And we also had Carson Hocevar from my home state, Portage, Michigan, with an incredible second place finish up there towards the end of it. I really thought the trucks put on a great show to kick off the weekend at Charlotte.
Yeah, they really did, and we didn't really think that at the beginning, because remember when practice started? Practice, what's that? That's that thing where they kind of ride around the track and get their vehicles dialed in a little bit. Perhaps you've heard of it. We haven't seen it in a while, but I think they tore up a half a dozen trucks in a 50-minute practice session.
Yeah,
I think there were 7 incidents and at least 6 trucks got into the wall, and one of them was John Hunter. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be crazy, because that PJ1 hadn't been worked in yet, the traction compound, and they say it's heat activated, but they mean not heat from the sun, heat from friction of the tires is what gets it worked in. And those were the first laps turned on it on the weekend. And boy, it seemed like some guys were skating on ice out there at the beginning of that. But then they settled down a little bit. The truck race was still kind of crazy. How about that crash with Johnny Sauter there coming off turn 4? That was right in front of my position, and the truck that had banged the wall and kind of stopped there. And then all of a sudden, here comes Johnny Sauter out of the corner, and there's a truck just stopped right in front of him. And I don't know if you know this, but they don't have brake lights.
Yeah, right. It was, we had that issue, and I was just like, I wonder at some point if NASCAR's got to put somebody with a caution with from race control on the inside, on the infield, from the banking standpoint, because that was one hell of a safety issue there.
I think they were hoping or thinking that he was just stalled for a moment and was going to be able to pick it back up again and get going, and they wouldn't have to throw the caution and stop the race, but that wasn't the case at all. And that was a real scary incident. I mean, you could see all the way through Johnny Sauter's truck when it came to rest, because the sheet metal had been ripped away, and you could see all the way through the roll cage from one end to the other. It was kind of crazy looking, but fortunately everybody was okay after that one. And man, I'm telling you, the trucks just get after it and go hard. I think that's what is so cool about that truck series is the races are shorter, so there's not a 20 lap, 30 lap, 100 lap feel it out period to get your truck better. They just go.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
That is really cool. That's what I enjoy about them.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. All right, let's talk about the Xfinity race for a minute. Ty Gibbs with, would you call it a validation stamp? In my opinion, he didn't need it. The win was great, obviously. 6 starts, 2 wins, average finish of 5.1. There were a lot of naysayers after he picked up that first win, whether it was, because it was the road course, or it's nepotism
but he made
in the
pass
family.
The grass to do it. That's what's so cool about it, right?
It was just aggressive. He didn't take anybody out doing it. He took the risk, and it was all risk and all reward when he did that. And every time he's been in and strapped in, he has been up front. And I love the fact that he picked up that second win so early in his career and into the season.
Yeah, me too. And I think part of it, let's be honest now, is that he's not running for points. So he's not trying to protect a position. All he's thinking is win.
Yes.
Try and go out there and win the race. And if I bounce off the wall and finish 28th, so what? No big deal. I haven't really hurt my position or anything like that. he can just go for it. And that's a liberating feeling. It's kind of what you hear from drivers after they get their win and secure a place in the playoffs. They don't have to worry so much about the math. They can just race. It's not so much about getting your fleet lined up the correct way, but to them, it's liberating. They can just go out and be racers and not think about points and math and all that kind of crazy stuff, right? I think that's what has helped Ty Gibbs early in his career. He can just go for it. Now, it may be a different story when he gets, into a full-time situation. We'll see, but his stats are certainly fantastic so far. He's obviously got a lot of talent, and he's obviously got a long way to go in terms of his age. I think he tweeted last week or week before, "See ya high school." Right? This kid is just getting out of high school, and he's doing this. So he's got a long and fruitful career ahead of him, and it'll be a lot of fun to watch, especially if he keeps performing like that. But it will be interesting to see how he will perform when he's got the pressure of a points battle on him, as well as, yes, great equipment, yes, good talent, but when you've got that points pressure on you, it's a little bit of a different animal, and it'll be interesting to see how he performs with that. Now, he's doing it in ARCA, but there aren't as many threats to win in that series as there are the trucks or Xfinity or what have you.
Absolutely. It's kind of like Kyle Busch when he gets in a truck. Hey, I just got to go out there and win this damn thing.
Right.
And it's funny you mentioned high school, because when you said that, I remember a couple years ago when Tyler Ankrum picked up his first win. I had him on the show right after, and I was like, man, you're just getting done with high school, dude. Like, it's one thing to be like the jock quarterback walking through high school. I'm like, what is it like? What is that swagger level like to be able to walk through as a NASCAR truck winner? Like, that's got to take it to a whole new level.
Well, what did he say? Is it everything he thought it would be and more?
I tell you what, he was so humble about it. Like, there was not an ounce of cockiness to him at all. Like, I'm like, I was hoping for some big, like, hell yeah, something. But no, he was so humble about it, and which made it even cooler. Like, he's got it, head on his shoulders, still in high school, and to be able to and he knew what he had done was something special, and that was awesome. And
that's really cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. All righty, sir. Cup race Sunday night. Larson putting on a clinic, much like Martin Truex Jr. did a few years ago. But for me, that felt a little bit different from Martin Truex Jr.'s dominant win. Because I'll be honest, when Truex did it, there wasn't a whole lot going on out there. But this one felt and was, in my opinion, a little bit more entertaining. What'd you think?
I agree. I think it was as well. And keep in mind, even though Kyle Larson has had a phenomenal amount of success, particularly in the sprint car world, and some at the Cup level too, he hasn't been at Truex's level in terms of winning championships and accomplishing what he's accomplished. So from that standpoint, it was cool as well. And also, remember, when he was challenged almost every time, it was one of his teammates. Hendrick Motorsports has it going on right now. And one of the things that Larson credited afterward was, they kicked Chad Knaus upstairs to the VP for competition role after last season. And he has seized that by the throat and has really done a lot to get them all on the same page. Not that they weren't before, but this is a guy who's won 7 championships, and he kind of knows what it takes. Not that the other guys don't know how to win. I'm not saying that, but just that one guy in the right spot at the right time. Chemistry is so important, and he knows that, and he's gotten them all pulling in the right direction, in the same direction, and working hard toward the goal. Not that others aren't, but sometimes even teammates can get a little proprietary with their information. Like, I don't want to tell you that because then you're going to turn around and beat me, right?
Right.
So he's gotten that mindset out of the way, and they're sharing. Like, if they get a shock from another team, they don't just say, okay, here's the shock we're using. They're talking about why they're doing it that way, how they're doing it, what kind of a difference it makes. All those little things are adding up, and they really have it going on right now. I mean, I think they're in the playoff battle. Kyle Larson's now in the top of the playoff standings, and the other 3 Hendrick guys are all in the top 8. So they have it going on, and it looks like it's headed down to a situation where it's going to be, them versus the Gibbs cars here coming down the stretch.
Absolutely. Well, all right. So, I mean, here's the thing, whenever you have something that hasn't been done before, right? So HMS, first 4-car organization to finish 1, 2, 3, 4, a couple weeks ago, and we're seeing the pure dominance out of this organization. Right now, like you mentioned, the playoff standings, they're at the cream of the crop with the exception of Martin Truex Jr. They hit stride in the playoffs. I mean, what if? I mean, I know this is hypothetical, but it's so for me, I enjoy talking about those kind of things. Like, what if the stars aligned and we had all 4 HMS cars in the Final Four? Like, could you imagine what that final race at Phoenix would be like with those guys? Because
it would be something. It would be something.
Will it happen? Odds. I mean, who knows, right? I mean, we're still pretty early. We just crossed the halfway point of the regular season. Something tells me though, after Daytona, they may not be sharing as frequently. But But man,
I think it's cool to have a situation where they can do that. But once you get into the playoffs, that's what makes it so tough. Is that one and done mentality like you have in the NCAA tournament or something. One little mistake can ruin an otherwise great season. Look at what happened to Harvick last year. He won 9 races,
yep.
and then you think, okay, well, he's a shoe-in for the championship, and he doesn't get it. To me, that's what's kind of interesting about it. It's not a situation where a guy can have a spectacular season and just run off and, everything's all kind of settled by early October. We're not going to see that type of thing anymore under this format. That's just not going to happen. But, boy, it would be wild to see all 4 Hendrick cars run for a championship. I don't know that the fans would enjoy it as much as, the historians might.
Right.
But I think it would be interesting to watch. I just think there's too many things that can go wrong to get all 4 of your cars into the championship 4. I think that's really, really, I'm no mathematician. Lord knows I'm no mathematician, but the odds have to be astronomical.
Oh, I would have, right? Like, that's something I need to go onto DraftKings and see what that parlay is or something like that for that future.
Yeah, that's a big one, right?
Yes.
That would pay handsomely.
It would. All right. So, when we talk about the standings, if we look at Denny Hamlin, who's leading with no race wins, it's a safe assumption, or, we're not grasping at straws to say Denny Hamlin's going to get a win. We may not be grasping at straws to say Kevin Harvick's going to get a win. But when we look a little further down, in terms of can we get the 16 winners? Can we get 17 winners? At this point into the season, we're outside of the 1.5-mile, 2-mile tracks, we're probably going to start to see more repeat winners. But we do have quite a few road courses, and we do have Daytona to wrap up the regular season. If you had to pick 1 or 2 sleepers that are sitting down there, maybe 17th, 18th, 19th spot to steal a win there, do you foresee that possibly happening? Not with who's down there. We've seen Kurt Busch just, have some horrible races as of late. Matt DiBenedetto, sophomore year, I really thought he'd come out a little stronger, hasn't had those finishes, where he's somebody I could have maybe gotten a win at a plate track or maybe a road course. But when you just look at the dominance of Chase and Martin Truex Jr., can anybody go and stop them at the road courses?
Well, Kurt Busch is a really underrated road racer. I think he could get one of those road course victories. Then you mentioned we still have super speedways on the agenda. Matt DiBenedetto, and don't forget Ricky Stenhouse Jr. down there in 18th in the standings could get one of those. Matt DiBenedetto has been right there a lot, and he's also very good at Bristol, don't forget. Then you look a little further up the list. Austin Dillon could get a win. He's very good at the super speedways as well, and has, a win at Charlotte under his belt. He didn't get the 600, and next time he comes back, it'll be the Roval. So he would have to get a 1.5-mile victory at another track. Tyler Reddick, to me, feels like a guy who's on the cusp of breaking through in a big way. So I think there are a handful of guys who could possibly get those wins. And even all the way back to Ross Chastain in 21st, I think that he could surprise some people and get a victory, because he's been running better and better and better, it seems like, every week. And the last, month or so, they have really turned it up 2 notches, I think.
Yeah, you get someone like them with the right pit strategy, the right place, right time, right track, and
Bubba Wallace is really good at super speedways, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And he'll get another opportunity to get a victory there as they continue to put that team together and get their P's and Q's. And then remember, once we get through this year, we're going to start all over with a brand new car. So it's like, right?
That's going to be really exciting next year. All right, Matt. Well, we are headed to Sonoma this weekend. Martin Truex has picked up back-to-back wins. Sonoma, now that we've got, 6-7 road courses on the schedule, Watkins Glen and Sonoma are like, hey, we're the original OGs of this thing. So we're going to one of the, quote unquote, original road courses that we had just for so long, just the two. What are you looking forward to going back out west? Can Martin Truex Jr. Pick up the hat trick? What do you think we might see this weekend?
I think he's got 3 total there, doesn't he? All time, I think.
Yes.
Anyway, but he will be definitely a factor, a threat there. The big difference is we will have the low downforce package, but we haven't run there in 2 years by the time we get back because we didn't do Sonoma last year. In addition to the COVID protocols, there was at the time a lot of wildfires in the area too, and that would have been another logistical challenge on top of everything else had they been able to get out there and run. But last time we did race there, it was a 750 horsepower package, but high downforce as well. Now they'll still have the horsepower, but the low downforce package. So that'll make it a little bit more of a challenge, a little bit of a different element. They'll also have the carousel open again to make it like just over a 2.5 mile racing surface there in Sonoma. That'll make a big difference. And the track itself is pretty abrasive on tires. I read that Goodyear is having a different tire compound this time. It'll be a little grippier to help them, jam on the brakes, get through those turns and accelerate off. But that will mean, some guys will try and make it on 2 pit stops. But if you think the tires are going to be that much of an advantage, do you think, all right, I'm not going to go 2, I'm going to go 3 and think that the burst those tires is going to give me will be enough to put me into victory lane, right? So I'm thinking we'll keep an eye out for that. Some of those guys that go for 3 stops may be able to take advantage of new tires and get to where they want to be. We've still got a lot of good guys who can get victories on road courses. But the interesting part, when you hear drivers discuss Sonoma, they call it sort of like the short track of road courses, whereas you have really high speeds at Watkins Glen, and Coda has sort of a mix of both. Sonoma is sort of like the short track of road course races. The speeds aren't typically as high on the straightaways, and there's a lot more technicalities. You have to be really precise with your movements when you brake, when you accelerate, when you get into the turn, the angle you take, all that adds up to somebody not just being able to run away with horsepower at Sonoma.
Well, man, that was one hell of a preview. I love that. Great explanation there for sure. All right, man. Well, let's wrap this thing up. Where can everybody follow you on social media, and where can everybody tune in to catch you pre-race on MRN?
The pre-race, if you look on our MRN.com website and find your local affiliate, you can punch in whatever show you're talking about, NASCAR Today, NASCAR Live, our pre-race show, and find out if your affiliate carries it. If not, they stream it at MRN.com and at NASCAR.com, or you can catch it on Sirius XM NASCAR radio. You can find them there. NASCAR Today is on 350-some stations around the country every weekday. They have between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. to play the show. It's also on Armed Forces Radio, so you can find it that way. And that's a big way for folks to get it. We get a lot of people all the time. In fact, a friend of mine's son is serving in Cuba and said, "Hey, I heard you on the radio the other day." And I'm like, "What? Really?
That's
I didn't know
awesome.
We had an affiliate there." And he's like, "Oh, it's on Armed Forces Radio. Now I get it. Duh. Now I'm understanding." But yeah, then we've got all of our podcasts, the MRN Out Loud podcast. We're going to have a real interesting one this week for folks who are interested in kind of the business side of the sport. We touched on this a little bit, but Jeff Dickerson is going to be with us from Spire. And, they just announced today they're going to put Ben Rhodes in one of their cars at Sonoma this weekend from the Camping World Truck Series. And they've had several different guys in there, but just to hear him talk about their strategy and what the economics and business model of the sport is like these days, for folks who are into that kind of thing, I think you'll enjoy this one.
That's awesome, man. Well, that sounds like a must tune in for sure. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, huge thanks to Woody Cain for calling back into the show. Appreciate you, man. Look forward to talking to you real soon.
All right, we'll catch it up, and keep catching those pictures now on Instagram. That's where I put all the grilling pictures. It's just plain old Woody Cain on Instagram, and that's where all the grilling pictures will go. So check it out there.
Excellent. I love that. All right, man. We'll catch you soon.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Of course, brother. We'll see you. Oh, Lap Traffic Nation. How great was that? Woody Cain back on the show. If you haven't picked up on it, Woody likes to smoke and grill meat, probably more than I do, and that says something there. So love being able to talk a little meat smoking rubs and barbecue sauce and all that good stuff there. Can't wait to get Woody back on for sure. So if you, this is not by design, but the last 3 weeks here, I really haven't done a dedicated segment to the racing talk because the guests have been more than gracious with their time. A couple weeks ago, Striegel, CJ Williver last week, Woody Cain this week. So we kind of mix everything in all there. So I'm not going to do that. Plus the show starts to run a little long and all that good stuff. So I think we got our fill in terms of everything from Charlotte and all that there with Woody. And we'll cover some stuff down the road when we get to the LuckyDogs and with Brian Neudorff in just a couple minutes. So right now, what do you say we do a little lap traffic fantasy? Let's give away some prize packs. Let's talk about some new stuff and all that good stuff. So, Lap Traffic Nation, make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, Facebook, The Lap Traffic Podcast, YouTube, The Lap Traffic Podcast, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all at Lap Traffic PC. Make sure you go follow Angry Brew Coffee at Angry Brew and 5 Lakes Coffee at 5 Lakes. Don't forget to go to the websites and use code LAPPED, LAPPED at checkout and get 10% off your order. How cool is that? Be on the lookout for a new Angry Brew, Spencer Boyd, Lap Traffic Podcast sponsored swag pack here. Probably get that out tomorrow, sometime Wednesday. So probably tomorrow or today when you're listening to it there. So be on the lookout for all that good stuff. And don't forget to be on the lookout for the contest to enter for a pair of tickets for the Saturday events at Pocono Raceway coming up here at the end of the month. This is not transportation there. It's just the tickets for Saturday, but that's still pretty cool. And Lap Traffic Nation, it's taken a long time. I didn't think it was going to take this long to get to 5,500 followers. You guys put up with all of my tweets about the prize pack and all that with the Clint Boyer diecast and the mug and all that good stuff. And I'm so excited to be able to give that away. Thank you so much for all the following, all the retweets and all that. I've learned one very important aspect of this, and that is to hold off on the retweet and follow contest, because that can take a minute with the fact that a good chunk of you already follow and all that. So hey, when we hit X followers, we'll give this away, might be a little lofty at this stretch and this point in the game. So more of the giveaways will be more of maybe a designated time frame, a week, 2 weeks, whatever, and all that. And we'll hold off on the milestone giveaways until we're much closer to the milestones. So all that said, like I said, there's going to be a Pocono Raceway giveaway here in later this week that goes up, and there's going to be another Angry Brew. And of course, you guys know I love to throw some random t-shirts and that kind of stuff. So the giveaways aren't going anywhere, just the format about how I go about giving them away so that we can do more and all that. So with that said, the winner of the Lap Traffic Podcast swag pack here for the 5,500 follower contest, which includes a 124 Clint Boyer diecast and all that good stuff. Can I get a drum roll, please, from the production crew? Oh, wait, I am the production crew. So, yes, drum roll, please. Brad Lawrence at BML3312. Brad's a father of 2 young adults, a big sports fan, mostly NASCAR. He's a big, it looks like most of the playoff contenders from last year, along with Spencer Boyd, Christopher Bell, Clint Boyer, which is awesome because he's getting himself a Clint Boyer diecast, all that good stuff. So, Brad, congrats, man. DM me your information, and I will get this out in the mail to you this week. So, congrats there. Speaking, though, of followers and all that good stuff, again, thank you again for everybody for doing that. Some new follower shout-outs. The Starting Grid at startinggrid_, a Twitch streamer, big NASCAR fan. John Hilario at Johnny Asylum 97, Logano fan from New York. Trisha at Army Mom Trish, proud Army mom from Georgia. Tell your kids thank you for their service. Rion Does Things 19 at Rion Does Things, Big Martin Truex Jr. fan from New Jersey. Will Deos at Will Deos 3, Chase Elliott fan from Florida. Welcome to the show, guys. Tell your friends, all that good stuff. And don't forget, stickers and koozies are available for free. Just fill out the contact page on the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, and I will send them out to you for free. Okay. There is all of that good stuff. Little lengthy social media segment there tonight. Let's keep things rolling. Let's get Mr. Brian Neudorff on the line for some lap traffic weather. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line. You can follow him on Twitter at NASCAR_WXMAN, along with Aaron Studwell, keeping us up to date on everything weather happening in the wonderful sport of NASCAR and racing in general as well. It's Mr. Brian Neudorff. Sir, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing very well. What a weekend, right?
It was, yes. Yeah, lots of racing, lots of eating, all that good stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about this eating thing, okay? You know, some of us come on this wonderful podcast, do it out of the kindness.
Yes.
Or at least we do it out of our heart of some sort, you know. You know, I still don't believe you have those photos. I'm just going to say that. I don't believe you have those photos, but until you prove otherwise, I'm still keep doing the show. I was waiting how long it would take for you to find that.
Yeah, there's no blackmail. There's nothing.
No. People just don't at anybody, okay?
Right, yeah, not on that anyways.
Not on that, yes. Not on that.
Not on that, yes. What'd you think of Indy, man? I know that was your race.
I mean, I'm biased. Let's listen. That's the heart of my racing right there. That is the heart and soul of this race fan. Without that, I'm not doing race. I'm not into racing. I'm not the NASCAR weatherman. So because of that, that is purely, you know, everything. And I thought it was great. It's been tough the last couple of years when you watch that and then you go to the 600. And again, nothing against the 600, but I mean, and I was tired. I mean, I had to work, so I didn't stay up. I had to go to bed and I crashed hard. I went to bed and, you know, Larson was winning or was leading, and that wasn't anything new out of the 320. Was it like he led 328 of 400?
Yes.
So there was a good bet that Larson was leading at some point and I had people come over to the house. So I didn't get to see much of the race, I will confess, but I got to see the 500, and that was outstanding. And I'm glad to hear. I mean, it's kind of funny how we've gone from, you know, Hendricks had its struggles to now it's, you know, right now the team out there.
Yes. Yeah, no, I mean, the last couple of years, it was, you know, every time Jeff Striegel was on, is Chevy back? What do they need to do to be back? Chevy's back, and they're not just back; they're kicking ass along the way. So no, Chevy's back. Well, I guess HMS is back because I mean, we're not seeing, you know, Richard Childress Racing, you know, doing anything. So Chevy is back, a la HMS. So and yes, they're doing what HMS has been known to do in the past.
Sometimes you got to get a little footing on your, you know, footing. I mean, I haven't talked to you since, you know, the news about Keselowski either. So that's kind of
right. Yeah, man, it's you know, it's going to be one of those things that's going to be interesting to watch. It's interesting that the rumors started circulating and that came out so early because, you know, no one's going to give any information, but, you know, every reporter is going to ask every single week any new news, and that's just going to frustrate and annoy everybody. You know, so interesting, the timeline for that getting, whether broke, leaked, whatever adjective you want to use for that news source and story there.
And I mean, I don't know all the details on how it came out, but I mean, I would like to think, obviously you want to get all your ducks in a row before something like that comes out.
Right.
And there's still some unknowns, but, as a driver and you're trying to get through a season and you're trying to do certain things, I would think to myself at some point, it's probably better that it's out. Like you said, the key thing you said is once those rumors get planted and stuff like that, and NASCAR's known for rumors. Hell, anymore today, anything's known for rumors. But still, once that rumor gets out there, that the reporters get they latch on like a dog to a bone, and they're not going to let go until you say something. They'll ask the same question in 5 different ways throughout an interview, and then you're going to get Kyle Bushes. Okay,
right?
Yeah. Get people.
Well, that's
you're
going to
get people who
it's as a report. I feel like as some of like the beat writers, their due diligence is almost they have to ask, otherwise they're going to get, hey, well, why didn't you ask if there was any new news? Just in case something is able to come out that they can be the first or or to have those rights to saying, hey, I broke this or whatever, and I totally understand that, but I just see Keselowski getting asked that week in, week out and just getting real pissed off, and what good does that do anybody? But anyways, I digress. Things though were pretty good this past weekend though.
Honestly, when you really, outside of Saturdays, the outside of the ARCA and stuff like that, and at Charlotte, overall the weekend was fairly quiet.
Yeah, no, it was. It was pretty good.
And
sure.
Then I was telling Aaron, I'm like, it's been a long time that I can think of that weather was about as perfect as you could get for both races.
Yeah, for sure. For Indy and
it wasn't like
Yeah,
it wasn't like sometimes it would be nice for Indy or the part that always gets us on those weekends, and I know you have things coming up, so we'll get to things. I'm apologizing for the time. Is there's always you have that chance of that rogue pop-up shower or thunderstorm, and so that's what usually keeps us busy. Or you're just waiting for the commentators to see something on radar, and then they drop that little nugget, and you're like, okay, got to clean up this mess.
Well, yeah, let's get into this weekend. It's the first race weekend of the year where we're splitting off. We've got Xfinity in the Midwest at Mid Ohio, and the Cup cars are all the way out west at Sonoma. So two possibly different forecasts. What's things?
Well, they're
like
different because they're two different locations. Yeah. But I feel like what is it, Ollie the Weatherman?
Yeah.
Except for Sonoma. It's going to be sunny. It's going to be sunny out there.
Nice.
All right. And, we're looking at temperatures. It can be hot sometimes. It can be very warm. But as you get closer to the water, generally speaking, I think for this weekend for the Cup race, you got nice weather. You got plenty of sunshine. You're looking at temperatures mid-80s. So for those who want, I think we've learned now that maybe we don't wish for rain tires so much.
Right.
I'm just going to put that out there.
After Coda.
Yeah, there is something called too much rain.
Yes.
Okay, a little bit of rain can go a long way.
Right.
Now we change our attention to Mid Ohio, and as we look at now, we're going to see it's going to start getting hot and humid. So congratulations, Midwest.
Yes.
But as we go into, we have a system. You and I may know, more so for me, but we can start getting showers and thunderstorms as we go Wednesday, Thursday. But by Friday and Saturday, what we're looking at is isolated thunderstorms, probably Friday afternoon, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. Saturday actually looks pretty decent, 84 degrees, looks almost identical. So really, I get to sit back, kick back, dream of your barbecue because I've not had any, and enjoy the weekend.
Excellent. Well,
actually, I will be honest. I probably won't see any of these races because my son graduates high school, my youngest.
That's awesome.
This weekend. So yeah, thankfully I'm glad there's no weather because then I can really put it on cruise control and just be like, enjoy everybody.
Absolutely. Take it in and enjoy the celebration for sure. Excellent. Well, that sounds great to me.
Yeah, it definitely sounded good. And again, I love the weekend. I was thrilled for Elio. That was wonderful.
That was fantastic. It was so cool. It was a great race, great story. Watching him run a quarter mile each way up and down from the start finish line was awesome. I had tweeted out, you could just see the pure excitement and the enjoyment and all that. It was that was a special moment on Sunday afternoon. That's for sure.
I know we have drivers who have won the Brickyard, many different times. It's I don't know. It's just not the same as the Indianapolis 500.
Oh, I agree completely. All right. Well, Lap Traffic Nation, make sure you catch Brian on Twitter at NASCAR_WXMAN, along with Aaron Studwell at Race Weather. And we'll catch Brian in a couple weeks. All right, man. We'll catch you later. Oop, well, I accidentally cut Brian off there at the end there, so that's why it looked and sounded like that thing ended pretty abruptly there. My bad. Hey, we're not professionals. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, it is time for this week's Lucky Dog and Lap Down Picks. Everybody, make sure you tweet your Lucky Dog and Lap Down Picks at the end of the race weekend. And hey, we need some new blood on the Wave Around hotline. Give it a call. Leave your picks there. Leave some comments about the race. I'll play it back. 248-965-9538. You can leave your message there anytime after the checkered flag drops and before Tuesday afternoon, and you will make the show. All right, I am going to get into my picks, and it mirrors just about everybody else's because we all kind of saw the same thing. My lucky dog, Kyle Larson. How could it not be? Lap down. Everybody not driving for HMS. Pretty straightforward there, and you guys have the same sentiment as you're about to see. So let's get to your tweeted responses. Scott at 1985 Wagner, Lucky Dog, Team Hendrick, damn near drove all over. Or I'm sorry, damn near Dover all over. Yes, lap down everybody that isn't the lucky dog. Yeah, I feel you. Jeff at JBev1789, lucky dog, Hendrick Motorsports in the utter dominance. Didn't see it coming, but man, they're on fire. Nice W, Kyle. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we all expected, Joe Gibbs. I mean, Kyle Larson was the favorite going in. You look at any sports betting site, he was the favorite ahead of Martin Truex Jr., which was surprising to me, but apparently they knew what was going on. CJ at CJ LaPearl 24, lucky dog to HMS, now the greatest Cup Series team in history. Great call there. Lap down both Ganassi cars throwing a belt. Jess at Iowa NASCAR fan, lucky dog Larson for an absolute ass whooping. Lap down the Rick Ware cars that were constantly in the way. Almost got drilled by the leaders countless times. Yeah, you know what? I meant to ask Woody Cain about that, and I just completely forgot. Yeah, I mean, it just got to a point of where it wasn't safe. People like to complain, Kyle Busch for blaming lap traffic was that last year at some point in time, just getting in the way, and hey, that's part of the sport, and that's what makes the sport competitive and interesting is maneuvering lap traffic. No pun intended to any of this, by the way, but it's a matter of getting around it. And that, adds to the level of competition, I think, and who can do it best. Can you throw a pit move on? Just so many caveats come into play with cars that are a lap down. But at some point, though, I don't know, that just didn't seem to be adding to the productivity of the race and became more of a obstacle that could have caused unsafe circumstances there. So yeah, I think something needs to be done about that. That's for sure. Rowdy at the Rowdy Dragon, lucky dog Kyle Larson wins with over 10 seconds. Domination, no luck, just saying. A lap down, Team Ganassi throwing belts on cars, no coincidence. Colin at Colin _with_cars, lucky dog has to go to Kyle Larson. It's about time he got another win with how good he's been. Lap down to the 550 package. A lot of cars just turning laps out there. Not a whole lot of action on the track. I will agree, Kyle Larson, it was just a matter of time. He could have 4 or 5 at this point. The rest of the field is lucky he doesn't, because then we'd have a Martin Truex Jr. situation a couple years ago where he'd have 40 points, bonus points already. Mick at GoDucks42_ Mick. Lucky Dog, the 5 team got it done. Lap down cars that look 100 miles per hour off the pace. Yes, sir. David at DFlint14's Lucky Dog, Kyle Larson Racing and Rick Hendrick. Well done, gentlemen. Lap down the charter system for allowing Rick Ware to make money by entering cars that couldn't win a late model race. Take the money you have and enter one decent car, not 4. Not a bad point there. Roger at ROJODI, Lucky Dog, Old Men in 2021 in HMS. A lap down, 550 horsepower, high downforce package. Robin at SF49er Girl 16, Lucky Dog Larson, a lap down the rest of the field. Chris at USMC_ NASCAR Fire, Lucky Dog HMS and Kyle Larson, lap down Chip Ganassi for buying cheap belts. Ryan at Ryan Vols 4, Lucky Dog to Larson, just dominated. Give it to Helio. Got to give it to Helio for the 500 win. Best celebration ever. Lap down Noah Gregson, another week with a really fast car and bad luck, and tough break for Connor Daly in the 500. And let's see here. Jumpy Bob. Lucky Dog has to be the race itself. One caution, good, hard, clean racing. Lap down would have to be that one engine with all of a sudden loss of oil pressure. All right, those are your tweeted responses. Let's get to your calls on the Wave Around Hotline.
Hi, Brandon. It's Matt at Camper News Net, and what an absolute dominant night by Kyle Larson and the Coca-Cola 600. And you know, I was really surprised that Kyle Larson got the pole for the 600. And, you know, he's really been dominant at mile-and-a-half tracks. That's, you know, tonight his dominant performance, I think, was no surprise. I knew this was a possibility coming in, that Kyle Larson was going to have a dominant night. You know, he's had dominant races at mile-and-a-half tracks, but have not been able to pay off except for at Las Vegas. And finally, Kyle Larson got it done tonight at the Coca-Cola 600, NASCAR's longest race of the entire year. And HMS is absolutely dominant as well right now. We had a 1-2 with Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, and then a 4th and 5th place finishes. 4th, William Byron. 5th, Alex Bowman. I mean, HMS is just completely dominant right now, and it's just the HMS show, if that's how I want to explain it. It's just, HMS is completely unstoppable right now. And, you know, this has just been an HMS races for them since Dover with that 1, 2, 3, 4 finish. And that was just absolutely unbelievable. But I'm loving it right now. This is good for HMS, but it's not good for the other drivers. And it is just something I've never seen before, I think, in my time watching NASCAR. Anyway, my lucky dog, and I have a couple this week. First, I'm going to start with my lucky dog from the Indy 500, Elio Castroneves, joining only 3 other drivers as four-time winners of the Indy 500. And that pass at the end with 2 laps to go, that was just an unbelievable pass by Elio. And that was just an incredible finish in the Indy 500. Second lucky dog is going to go to HMS. As I said, unstoppable right now. Hope that continues. And my luck, don't normally do this, but the weather here in New York has just been absolutely lousy this weekend with the rain. So anyway, with that, enjoy your week as always, Brandon, Lap Traffic Nation. I'll talk to you next weekend after the race at Sonoma. Thank you so much, Brandon. Take care. Bye.
Oh, Matt, thanks for calling in. Appreciate you. I mean, yeah, there's just no way around it. HMS is just on an absolute tear right now. Will they cool? I think if the only comparison I would make that I hope doesn't happen because it's fun to watch, kind of like was what happened last summer. It was the Kevin Harvick, Denny Hamlin show. Who was going to win that week was kind of what it boiled down to for a decent stretch there. And then, Kevin cooled off in the playoffs, didn't make it it to the Final Four. Denny obviously came up empty-handed again in the Final Four. So is this a stretch that HMS can carry into the fall, or are some other organizations like SHR, like Penske, like Joe Gibbs Racing, are they going to catch up when it counts? And that's something else that's going to be fun to watch, to see what else happens as the regular season continues and winds down here towards the end of the summer. All right, we got one more. You know who it is. It's the voice of the Wave Around Hotline.
What's going on, Lap Traffic Nation? Voice of the Wave Around Hotline at Racing Games, calling in both the Gold 600 and Indy 500. One good race and one mess race. The Indy 500, man, I don't know if everyone watched that, but that was an excellent race from start to finish. Elio Gastronetis, man, what more can you say? 4th Indy 500 win. And this one wasn't even with Team Penske, it was with another smaller team, so that's really, really freaking cool for Elio there. That's an obvious lucky dog. On to the NASCAR side, kind of status quo for the Coke 600. My expectations were low and my expectations were thin. I love HMS, and it's cool to see them 4 finishers in the top 5. It's Kyle Busch, the meat and the sandwich there, but it was just kind of a Met race, really ho-hum. Really don't have much, if anything, else to say. I don't think it's much of a statement win for Kyle Larson. I don't yet see him as the championship favorite. I still think that's Martin Truex, based on where we crown champions at this point with the way the schedule works out, so that'll be that. Until I see more out of Larson. On the 750 tracks, Truex is looking to be my championship favorite. So, on to my lap down lucky dogs for the race. I ain't even going to mention it, the race. Like I said, ho-hum. So, lucky dog, the Detroit Tigers for somehow sweeping the Yankees. They suck. There's no other way about it. The Yankees look like the last place team. I think I could hit better than half the offense right now. So, they'll probably get embarrassed by Boston and Tampa Bay the next 6 games coming up, so I'm not really looking forward to that. But even though they lost 3 in a row, they still played better than Ryan Newman in their specific sports. So I'll leave it at that. Talk to you after Sonoma.
Oh, Mr. Andrew Kansian throwing some lucky dog over to the Detroit Tigers. I will take that all day. That's freaking awesome. Yes, we swept his Yankees. Man, I've been doing, a couple sports betting things there with baseball this season. And, the Tigers are just such a hard team to take. And it was like, man, it looked like some decent lineups, but I couldn't go in. So I did not place a single Tigers-Yankees bet that series there, just because I couldn't. I had no read on that. So, and obviously, who would have thought that? So, oh man, appreciate it. Listen, let's get some fresh blood on the Wave Around Hotline. Camper always first, Kansian always last. Let's get some fresh blood in there in the middle, or some people that haven't called in a minute. Feel free, leave a voicemail on the hotline. It's nothing live. You can call anytime after the race and up until Tuesday afternoon. You can call the Wave Around Hotline, 248-965-9538. I put it in the tweet as well when I asked for all your picks. So, just take a minute, give a call, say hi, have some fun on the Wave Around Hotline. That's going to do it for this week's Lucky Dog and Lap Down segments. Can't wait. Next week, 2 road courses. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, let's close this thing out with a little Lap Traffic fantasy. Just a reminder to get your picks in by 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. Keep the Twitter interaction up using hashtag LT Fantasy. There are 11 races to go, or 11 weeks of racing to go in segment 2, including the All-Star race, but we'll get to that here in just a minute. Right now, joining me on the line, he was one of the many players with the week high this week. Picked up 2 bonus points for the race winner and for tying in the week high score. It is Jumpy Bob. Jumpy Bob, what's going on, man? How are you?
Thank you very much for having me on the show. We're doing well.
Excellent. Welcome. All the way up in Canada. You guys, I talked to Bob here for a minute before we started recording. You were definitely going to think he's calling into a hockey podcast based on his vernacular and the enunciations of some words there. So, Bob, are you a hockey fan too, or is that just a blanket assumption that everybody makes?
Well, no. Everybody up here, can honestly believe as a hockey fan, and we just had our teeth kicked in last night when our beloved blue and white Toronto Maple Leafs went down with a 3-1 game lead and got it taken away from us. So we're not advancing.
Oh, man, that's a bummer, man. You know, I feel you. I mean, growing up, big Red Wings fan, right? Like, you know, I remember going to games and then just like the city getting crazy during playoff time for hockey, because it was an assumption that the Red Wings were going to get to the Western Conference Finals every year and possibly the Stanley Cup. And the Wings have been in a long rebuild, we'll call it. But man, I remember there were some times where when the Maple Leafs would come down to Joe Louis Arena and would overtake the stadium sometimes because of, you know, like secondary market and all that kind of stuff with tickets. So you guys got a good following, and it was a pretty solid fan base down here in Metro Detroit as well.
Yeah, there's a blue and white following. I mean, all the way into Phoenix. You see a lot of Maple Leaf shirts when they play, you know, down in Phoenix as well. So it's pretty much nationwide. Absolutely.
Well, man, this is your first year playing in the league, man. What do you think of the league so far?
I think it's excellent. You've obviously changed some rules for the cup selections. I think that is warranting to be very positive, because you now have to think through the car numbers as it relates to the segments and what races are coming up. So you have to keep some cards close to your chest to be able to, you know, take advantage of the point system that you could be rewarded.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's the thing. It becomes a skill and then a little bit of luck and hoping, you know, because, hey, you know, 9 times out of 10, you're a lock to get some decent points with Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, mile and a halves. But, you know, every once in a while that tire might blow and they might go into the wall with 20 to go and then your day's done. But, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I've been doing it every year, been doing the show. So I'm glad you've
been doing this 5 seasons now,
yes,
from what I understand.
Yeah.
That's solid.
Yes.
That's really solid.
Thank you.
This is what, show 243?
This is
solid.
That's 243. Great. Yes, sir. Yeah, they're getting up there, that's for sure, and having a blast the entire way. So yeah, thanks, man. Glad you're here with us. What'd you think of the racing this past weekend at Charlotte?
It was good racing. Both the Friday, the Saturday, and the Sunday races were good. I'm a little disappointed on the Saturday night race. What happened with the control tower not seeing the black car coming out of 4 against the wall and not throwing that yellow. But other than that, it was good. Some good solid racing. And especially the Sunday race was really good. A lot of people are complaining about the engine package and the downforce package. You know what? I didn't really have anything negative to see about it. It was a good race. It was good solid. I mean, we had an engine blow on the number 1 car, and we had, I think, the 12 went into the wall exit turn 4, and that you know, caused a caution. But other than that, it was clean. No one got hurt, which is excellent. So it was. I thought it was pretty good racing.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah, you know, when you talk about the engine package, you know, it's definitely noticeable. It's some other tracks. It's been noticeable at Charlotte in the past, but I'm with you. I thought the racing was really good. You know, yeah, this package, once the leader gets out there, it's kind of lights out unless, you know, something brings out that yellow to line him back up. But there was some decent racing up towards the front of the field. You know, we're not talking, you know, yeah, you know, we'll talk, oh, there was great racing for 20th. Okay, sure. You know, TV ain't picking that up, but TV was able to pick up enough of the excitement, you know, through 10 back, through 15 back in the field. So it was enjoyable. I enjoyed the race for sure. All right, let's reset some standings here. We got our top 10, our bonus points, which I'm so excited because the bonus points were new this year. And now bonus points are starting to get racked up. It felt like forever. It was just like a couple people with 2 and 3, but over half the leagues got bonus points now, and there's starting to be a little separation. So we'll start with top 10, segment 2. In first, from DFS NASCAR, it's Steven Serwitzky. In second, Kevin Hahn. In third, Jess Rose. Also in third, Joseph Scampino. 2-way tie for fourth with Pete Curvin and Brett Morris. 3-way tie for fifth with David Mullins, Fred Leclerc, Claire, Henry Fletcher, and John Entwistle. Robert Riggs in 6th. Glenn Ekins in 7th. Eric McCullum in 8th. Tony Salt in 9th. And Stephanie Holler, who was on last week with the Fast Cars and Freedom podcast, wrap out our top 10. Jumpy Bob, we both had week high, and our names are not in the top 10. So we still got a little work to do. Yeah, this was my first week getting a bonus point, and I got 2 bonus points finally. So I'm finally on the bonus points charts. But right now, John Entwistle is taking control of the bonus points with 7 all the way in Australia. Henry Fletcher with 6.
That's fantastic.
I know. It's so cool. Eddie Greer with the EG3 podcast has 5. Stephanie Holler's got 5. Jumpy Bob, you do have 4 bonus points, which is pretty solid, along with Brett Morris, Eric Sauter, Fred Leclerc, Joseph Scampino, the MOATF podcast, and Scott Wagner. And then there's a ton with 3, 2, and 1 there. So those are our leaders there. And then over to the cumulative standings that will set everything for the playoffs. Fred Leclerc is in first with 1489. John Entwistle in second, 1479. Henry Fletcher in third with 1474. Yours truly, the Lap Traffic Podcast, in fourth with 1449. Pete Curvin in fifth. Jess Rose in sixth. Michael from the Blind Spot Podcast in seventh. Glenn Atkins in eighth. Josh Neal in ninth. And Jeff Beaven wrap out the top 10. We got to get your name on one of these, Jumpy Bob. Top 10 segment 2, or you got to creep up into that top 16 for the cumulative standings there, sir.
Yeah, and I'm I'm mid-pack right now, and even though I did have a really good week, as we mentioned earlier, I mean, if everybody has a good week, even if you win the $1 million lottery and everybody else picks the same numbers, you still can almost afford the ticket you bought.
Yes, sir. Well, man, let's see if we can make it 2 weeks in a row. Are you ready to make some picks?
Yeah, I think we've got a pretty good understanding of what's going to happen. Hopefully what's going to happen. And mind you, I always go into it knowing that I have a better understanding of what's going to happen the following week, but we'll find out.
Yes, sir.
Obviously time will tell.
Yes. All right. Lap Traffic Fantasy Players. Weekend 3 of segment 2 takes us back out west. We're headed to Sonoma, our third road course of the season. A lot of players used Chase Elliott Coda, and it paid off. If you've got Chase left for this segment, now might be a great opportunity to cash in on our road course king as he looks for another win in 2021 and his first win at Sonoma. Martin Truex Jr. has back-to-back race wins at Sonoma. Can he pull off the hat trick? And hey, how about a sleeper pick this weekend? Matt D picked up a top 5 at Sonoma last year. Can anyone slow Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson down? Who can pick up some ground in the league? We'll find out this weekend. But first, it's time for our picks. No truck race this weekend, which bums me out. But, Jumpy Bob, we'll start with you. Who is your pick for the Xfinity Series?
Oh, okay. Xfinity being in mid-Ohio, that's a good solid racetrack, good road courses as well. I don't know the configuration they're going to use. I hope they use the full course for the Xfinity race. But I'm going to have to go with my true and trusted number 22 car, Austin Cindric.
Austin Cindric, solid pick. I thought about using him, but then that would have been 3 weeks in a row, and I just couldn't do it. So I'm going to go with one of the fellow road course ringers, if you will, Colleague Racing's own AJ Allmendinger this weekend. So hopefully AJ can pick up.
That's a good pick. That's a solid pick.
All right, let's go over to the Cup Series, sir. Who is your pick for Sonoma?
And I'm going to have to obviously do my number 9 car again because of the road course, because he has never won there. So that's going to be my pick. I'm going to pick Chase Elliott.
Chase Elliott, solid pick there. Not that I think Truex is going to pick up the hat trick, but I think it's going to be a solid points day for Martin Truex Jr.
Yep.
So I am going to go with the 19 car this weekend.
That's pretty solid, yep.
Yes, excellent. Well, man, thanks for calling in. I appreciate the time. Good luck throughout the rest of the league, and who knows, maybe we'll be talking to you again soon.
I hope so. I look forward to it. Thank you very much for having me on.
Awesome, man. Take care. We'll talk to you soon.
You bet. Thanks, Brandon.
All right, Lap Traffic Nation, that is going to do it for episode 243 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. Make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, Facebook, The Lap Traffic Podcast, YouTube, The Lap Traffic Podcast, Instagram and Twitter at Lap Traffic PC. Be on the lookout for a new Angry Brew giveaway, as well as tickets for a Saturday race at Pocono. courtesy of Pocono Raceway and the Lab Traffic Podcast. Huge thanks to Woody Cain, Bariah Neudorff, and Jumpy Bob for calling into the show. I still got to put something together for next week, but I'm sure we'll get something lined up. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Make sure you tune in each and every week to the Lab Traffic Podcast. See ya!